pain is gone.
Oh, wow. It's like a button just turned the pain off.
I feel a lot of relief already.
B Active Plus is the revolutionary drug-free way to make sciatic nerve pain go away. Call or go online to order your B Active Plus for the special TV discount price of just $29.99. If you don't begin to get instant relief, send it back and owe nothing. But to make this the most pain-free offer on TV, you can get a second one. Just pay a separate fee. Call or log on to buybeactiveplus.com.
Thank you with all my heart for giving me this trophy, and to my coaches and my teammates who made it possible for me to receive it.
Events celebrating the Heisman Trophy winners have always been a part of the award's history. But as college football grew, so did recognition of the award.
The Heisman Trophy for 1959.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have about 5 minutes until we are to join the Coast to Coast Network at the Mutual Broadcasting System to bring you the presentation ceremonies.
The banquet and the award ceremony were seen in newsreels and broadcast on the radio. The first televised award ceremony was in 1977 when Earl Campbell of Texas won the trophy.
You know, when I was a kid and I'd get in trouble, I'd always say, "Hey, Mom, I'm in trouble," you know, so, "Mom, I'm in trouble, I don't have anything to say."
There aren't really many other sports awards in America where you not only get handed the trophy, but you now have to perform and accept it and thank people and, in essence, tell the world something about you and your life and how you got there. But in the Heisman, you do have to do those things.
John Cappelletti is a 206-pound running back for Penn State, quite a powerhouse on the football field, good enough to have been awarded the Heisman Trophy.
The Heisman dinner at that time was really well attended. 1,500 people was a big deal. And Cappelletti knew that this was going to be his moment in the spotlight. His younger brother's been ailing and essentially dying for years. And here's one of the most famous speeches in American sports history.
The youngest member of my family, Joseph, is very ill. He has leukemia. And if I could dedicate this trophy to him tonight and give him a couple days of happiness, this is worth everything.
His acceptance speech was one of the most moving things I'd ever seen at that particular time in my life, being a young man. His commitment to other people, the emotion of the moment. Heck, if your strings weren't being tugged, then you didn't have a heart.
I think a lot of people think that I go through a lot on Saturdays and during the week, as most athletes do. You get your bumps and bruises, and it's a terrific battle out there in the field. But only for me, it's on Saturdays, and it's only in the fall. For Joseph, it's all year round, and it's a battle that's unending with him. And he puts up with much more than I'll ever put up. I think this trophy is more of his than his mine, because he's been a great inspiration to me.
When I won it, we had just played Michigan in 1974. And it was Monday afternoon. Got a call from the Downtown Athletic Club and said that they had a ticket for me to get on the plane and come to New York. They were going to take me to the Downtown Athletic Club, and there'll be a couple other people, and they were going to announce who was the Heisman Trophy winner. Well, got to New York and went to the Downtown Athletic Club, and I was the only one there. It was a lot different than it is now, where you have 3 or 4 or 5 people in, and guys are all sitting up front, and they make the announcement, and it's a big TV show and all that.
The winner is Lamar Jackson of University of Louisville.
The show kind of bounced around different stations, different formats, until 94 when ESPN takes it over, and now you've got a very consistent product, like the Oscars. How do you turn the handing over of a trophy into must-see TV? And that show does a great job of that.
The Heisman Trophy ceremony was the first of many, and now you have the College Football Awards, you do have the ESPY Awards and NFL Honors, and so it is a trailblazer in terms of award shows and programming.
Heisman winners winning me on stage, all the way from Johnny Latner, 1953, around to Mark Ingram, way back in 2009 on this side, and they are ready to salute a new member in this fraternity.
The Heisman Trophy is the most important fraternity in all of sports. At the end, they have a tradition where all of the Heisman Trophy winners who are present at the ceremony come and stand on the stage. And I'm often just like overwhelmed by, wow, it is a diverse group of what is the best of America. The melting pot that we are is also represented in the Heisman Trophy.
Ricky Williams.
I remember when I won the Heisman Trophy, looking around the room and realizing, wow, I grew up watching Marcus Allen and Bo Jackson and Earl Campbell, and to know that I was going to have my picture on the wall with these greats, it was beyond description.
I'm certainly most proud of the award. To distill down excellence, to distill down the sense of achievement and embody it in a single person has a real power to it. And it makes all of us who have had the good fortune of being selected realize that we have a responsibility to live up to the standard that the Heisman has come to represent.
The Heisman Trophy winner should have qualification of being an outstanding athlete and most of all, an outstanding person off the field.
The Los Angeles County District Attorney has just filed murder charges against Orenthal James O.J. Simpson.
All of the Heisman winners aren't pure as a driven snow. Many, not all, but many of them have had issues in their lives, so no one is trying to cast them as being perfect.
Billy Cannon, a former football hero with Louisiana State University and the pros, has now run into big trouble with the federal government. He's been charged in connection with a major counterfeiting scheme.
You want someone to win the Heisman Trophy that's going to represent the trophy in a classy way. Someone that you will be proud of to be a Heisman Trophy winner. I feel there's standards that come along, so you want character to be a big part of that, actually.
Most guys do honor the tradition of the Heisman Trophy. Obviously, even when you're presidents of the United States, there's going to be some that don't do it quite as well as the others and can tarnish it a little bit.
A Florida crime lab report shows DNA samples taken from Florida State quarterback Jameis Winston connect him to the woman accusing him of a December 2012 sexual assault.
I'm pretty sure it's going to hang over this kid's head all the way through the close of Heisman voting.
As I vote, character does matter. I didn't vote for Jameis Winston. There were questions surrounding his character at that time, and I didn't think that that was Heisman worthy. He won the Heisman, despite these allegations hanging over his head.
I personally don't take character into consideration because I don't claim to know these guys. You do see sometimes references to a clause on the Heisman's website that refers to winning with integrity, but it's not actually on the ballot. You know, there's nothing on the ballot that says to consider that. It just says outstanding player.
It is my pleasure to report that Reggie Bush ran away with the Heisman Trophy yesterday.
The NCAA found Bush received illegal gifts and benefits over the 2005 season.
The move by Reggie Bush today, forfeiting his Heisman Trophy, essentially is the end of a 4-year saga involving Bush and USC football.
Reggie Bush was and still is the only player to ever forfeit his Heisman.
Should Reggie Bush have given back his Heisman Trophy? Hell no. Hell no. Why should he give it back? He earned it. Reggie Bush dominated college football. He dominated the conversation in college football. He was electrifying. He was exciting. He was part of a great team. He happens to be in the backfield with another Heisman Trophy winner.
Ryder, gonna try to sneak it ahead. Touchdown, SC!
OJ, in the late 1960s, he earned the Heisman Trophy. Later on, of course, OJ would come to be infamous for other things, but you can't erase history. You shouldn't rewrite it. So anytime they try to force someone to relinquish something that they've already earned, it doesn't erase it in the minds of the people who saw this transpire.
Cam Newton is this year's Heisman Trophy winner. He was given the honor despite accusation that Newton's father tried to solicit cash from another college to get his son to play for them.
When Cam Newton won, there was a great deal of scrutiny whether he or his family or someone had been paid. And I'm not comfortable saying which Heisman Trophy winner it was, but this person pulled Cam Newton into a room and he said, "Look me in the eye. Are we going to have to come and
take this trophy back from you. And this previous Heisman winner said that Cam looked at me and said, no, sir. I'm not sure that this Heisman Trophy winner cared one iota whether Cam or his family or anybody else got any money. I don't know that he cared. But what he did care about was there a situation going to arise that would embarrass the Heisman Trophy. And that he cared about very deeply.
Thank you.
Gatorade Fit. Fitness starts from the inside out. Get healthy, real hydration and no added sugar, artificial sweeteners, or added colors. Gatorade Fit. Healthy, real hydration today helps you fuel tomorrow.
That's the DQ Cheeseburger Lovers Deal. 2 singles for $5 or 2 doubles for $7 for a limited time. So, how is it? Deal this good speaks for itself, I guess. DQ, happy tastes good.
Ever notice how stiff clothes can feel rough on your clothes that are gentle on your skin? Try Downy Free and Gentle. Downy will soften your clothes without dyes or perfumes. The towel wash from Downy is softer and gentler on your skin. Try Downy Free and Gentle.
I've never watched Patrick's practice jersey. Superstitious. I need to get that personal. State Farm Personal Price Plan, it just helps you create an affordable price. Call or click to get a quote today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
All of Sonic's under $2 craze are under $2, so you can get something tasty without breaking the bank. Sonic under $2 craze. Sonic.
HelloFresh has everything from family-friendly meals to fit and wholesome to quick and easy options like this 25-minute black bean and pepper quesadilla. When it's all said and done, HelloFresh always has my back and helping me and my family's busy schedule.
Go to HelloFresh.com/TV21 for the 21 free meals plus 3 free gifts. It only takes a second for an everyday item to become dangerous. Tide Pods Child Guard Pack helps keep your laundry packs in a safe place and your child safer. To close, twist until it clicks. Tide Pods. It's happening again. Where exactly did you go? It's 1850. What?
How would you like to stay here? Permanently.
I don't want to get used to this. I can't.
FX's Kindred. All episodes now streaming only on Hulu.
Let me tell you, this is one of the biggest moments of my life, which there is 2 up to date. One is receiving this trophy, and the other was when the United States Marines let me put this uniform on.
For the early era of the Heisman Trophy, it was really legendary because a lot of those men were fighting in wars. These guys were going to college and playing college football and then going and fighting for their country. So I think there was an emotional element to some of the early trophy winners. Those were the best and brightest of us. Those heroes we continue to look up to, whether they were playing football or fighting for their country.
People like Niall Kinnick or people like my dad, post-graduation immediately, those guys are in the service. Both were pilots.
I believe, and truly believe, that was the toughest yardage that I ever had to make.
My dad was fortunate. My dad went down twice. He walked out of both of those experiences. Niall Kinnick didn't.
Niall Kinnick was a kid from Iowa. Iowa did not have a great football program, and there was pressure for him maybe to go elsewhere, but he was an Iowa kid, so I'm going to go to Iowa. He leads Iowa to a great season, and he ends up winning the 1939 Heisman Trophy.
The war in Europe starts in September 1939. Here it is in December of 1939. He wins the trophy and he gives an impassioned speech.
I thank God I was worried on the gridiron of the Midwest and not on the battlefield of Europe.
Back then, the speech was on radio. And this young man has the presence of mind to note how fortunate he is to be living in the United States, where winning and losing was about a football game and not about life and death. War breaks out. He enlists in the Navy in 1943 in Venezuela on a training mission about 4 miles out from the carrier. They notice the plane starts leaking fuel, and he then crashed the plane into the water, but the body was never recovered. It's such a tragic story because it's really a story of what might have been.
What's your call?
The Big Ten decided to honor Kinnick by producing a commemorative coin which has his image on it. And they used this since the 1960s as the coin flip for each game that they play in the Big Ten.
I think if you're not really versed in Iowa football, I don't think you quite get the magnitude of Niall Kinnick. The stadium is named after him. They play part of his Heisman speech before every football game there. He is such a big part of the Heisman legacy because of the man he was, not just because of the football player he was.
I grew up in Ohio in the 70s, and you get Archie Griffin, who's your idol, the only guy that's ever won 2 Heisman trophies.
Deep down in my heart, to tell you the truth, I wanted to win it my senior year. I wanted to win it because I had won it my junior year, and then Coach Hayes used to have this say, you're either getting better or you're getting worse. You never stay the same. So for me, to be better than I was the year before, I needed to win the Heisman Trophy.
Aggregate votes by over 2-1. Greater than his margin last year, the 41st winner of the Heisman, Archie Griffin.
He represents the trophy like he wanted to represent it. If anybody had won twice, you know, you don't want it to be a jerk, right? You don't want to be a guy like, I can't believe that guy won it twice. But, I mean, this guy, man, he is what the Heisman's all about.
He exudes class. Archie will always be in the Mount Rushmore of Heisman winners. Numerous guys have been finalists a couple times or won it one year and got close another year, but in 74 and 75. Attention spans, as we all know, aren't what they used to be, and I just think voters tend to want to look in a different direction. Everybody likes the new guy. Voting trends will just tell you that we're not going to have a repeat winner. Archie Griffin is the ultimate gentleman. So if only one guy in American sports history is going to have that title of 2-time Heisman winner, sort of happy it's Archie. I'm talking about a trophy that's given out annually to one person, and one person gets to join that fraternity and be forever known as Heisman Trophy winner.
Legends build up around these Heisman Trophy winners, but I think a lot of those men lived up to those legends.
Going to New York and actually hearing my name being called was still something I think about today. Like, wow, man, I can't even put the words on it right now, but that was pretty cool. If you're a college football player and you get handed that bronze trophy, it means something. It marks you forever as not just the most outstanding player that season in college football, but it marks you forever in the history of the game as a representative of the greatness of college football.
Tonight is Tony's night.
He was selected as the most outstanding. And I gotta say that he is the most outstanding collegiate football player of that particular.
It is an invisible badge worn proudly by each winner. And echoing for all to hear, this man, in his year, was the very best.
The Al Iverson trial in Hampton was like their OJ trial, but before OJ. He was involved in a racial brawl.
The scary part to me as an investigator, if we didn't listen, people can get killed.
All right, we'll go from there.
You are receiving a call from an inmate.
My name is Noah Torres. I'd like to make a report of my wife yesterday. But to come home.
Okay, when's the last time you spoke to her?
Yesterday.
Okay, so you were actually home yesterday, and she never came back home.
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'm going to send somebody up to speak to you, okay?
Please.
Okay. All right, bye-bye.
When any family member reports another family member missing, they're typically very, very upset. And Munawar was crying, and he was very emotional.
Munawar and Soraya came here from Indonesia and were raising their family in Coral Springs.
They were married for about 10 years, and they had 2 children, 2 young boys that were in elementary school.
Yes.
Timelines for missing person investigations, and really any criminal investigation, is critical.
Start in the morning and go through the entire day, step by step, everything that you remember. And that way, as we get closer to the disappearance, something, you might go on there that I can follow up so that we can get that whole timeline down. We can use that to try and track down your wife.
Time-wise, I'm not positive because precisely.
He explained that she took her kids to school, which was normal for them, and he heard her come home, the door opening and closing a couple times. And that's what he says was the last time he saw or heard of her.
From 11 to 12, I called my wife, not there. First I thought when I worried, my wife not there, I called my spouse.
And he called her cell phone a couple times, and it either went to voicemail, or there was a time where he thought somebody may have answered it, but there was nobody on the other line.
When I called my wife, no contact. Somebody had to pick up my son. Once he don't answer my call, I have no other choice. They're the same as before in my name. Right here.
He kept bringing up the fact that she had gone missing once before. She had gone down to Miami and just kind of ghosted, went off the grid. He wasn't able to reach her by phone, and he seemed very upset about this. It made us think that maybe this was, a similar pattern. He wanted to make sure there was somebody there to pick his kids up, and he went to the elementary school, which was close by to the house.
Our school, James S. Hunt Elementary, located in Coral Springs, it's just a small neighborhood school. I've been the school counselor there for many years. Soraya was a stay-at-home mom, and so we always love the stay-at-home moms because we think they're available, accessible, and kind of just there for us. She was ideal because she was willing and started attending the meetings, started volunteering. Her involvement was it was wonderful.
I met Soraya when our oldest children were in kindergarten together. We were in kindergarten, first grade, second grade, all together in the same class. She was a private lady, but when I would go over to her house, she would share with me she had a degree in engineering. She was a very bright lady, and she wanted to educate her boys the best she could. She was a very good mother to them. And you could tell she was a good mother because of how they acted.
The volunteer for ice cream would typically come in at 10 o'clock. It was shortly after 10 o'clock, and I realized she wasn't there, so I called the front office secretary to say, please give Miss Toha a call to find out if she was on her way and what I would need to do if, she wasn't going to make it. There was no answer. We found out also that day the third grade, which was her oldest son, had a field trip. So we just thought she might have been on the field trip.
Soraya was probably the most reliable mom you could ask for. She was always the first car to pick up. And when I would walk up, I was always able to smile and wave to her. She was always a guarantee.
You would always find her sitting in the car, air conditioner on, and reading as she waited. But the father picked up her son on that day.
As the afternoon wore on, Munawar became more and more concerned and wanted to go looking for Surya, but having two young children made it a little bit difficult. So he wanted to go to some friend's house to drop the boys off so that he could kind of in earnest go looking for her.
Munawar took them to the family friend's house of Ryan and Mariana Putra.
And what time do you go to Marianne's house with the kids?
I do. Because I like to talk. At the same time, I like to need help. Because
And then he asked if his kids could spend the night there, and he asked Ryan to go with him to look for Surya.
So he and Ryan drove around. There was a club that she frequented that was very close to their house. So they drove through that parking lot looking for her. They went to the industrial area where he works, and they had no luck finding her. So they went back to the house, they had dinner, and Munawar left.
And he leaves your house alone around 8 o'clock, I think?
Yeah, about 8 o'clock.
Does he come back?
And they come back about 9 o'clock something.
And he says what at 9 o'clock?
He said just to look around, I didn't find him. I didn't find her.
Later that night, the friends advised that Munawar showed back up at their house, but he was on a bicycle. And they were surprised, and they didn't really understand why. And he said that he wanted to look for her while he was on the bike because it would be more clandestine and he could be more secretive so that she wouldn't see him if he was riding around on the bike.
He was really looking at hard.
The first time the son leaving, they told me I don't know who the guy is. First time they leave.
She left him the first time?
Yeah, I mean this is already second time.
Did he say this time why she left?
He said he did something with it.
Let's go over some of this. And this was written by who?
My wife.
Your wife. You think that's her handwriting?
Yes.
And you think it was March?
According to this, yes.
So I'm looking at a letter that Munawar explained that his wife Surya wrote. Munawar had a friend translated in English. And it says, I cannot handle or hold my mental and physical what happening to myself, which no other way to make this decision. Sorry what I'm doing, so I can't be lost in the heaven. Always disturb my email and at home from M. Cox and come in the front door and he forced me to do intercourse. If I don't do it, I am afraid he might kill me. This is true letter, name and signature, Surya. Now we're thinking that maybe she was raped, and does this M. Cox have anything to do with her disappearance? So I asked Munawar, and Munawar said that the only M. Cox that he knows is a gentleman who is a co-worker of his.
Whether she's running away because she can't deal with the disgrace of what happened, or he's taking her away,
be something that